Hi, I'm Iona, Assistant Director at the Marble Falls Public Library, and you're listening to Book, Line, and Sinker, a podcast from the staff here at the Marble Falls Public Library. This podcast is all about reading, books, movies, and other topics related to the public library. We're really excited to share our thoughts with you, and we hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back, listeners. I have Amanda with me today, and we're going to discuss libraries and media. I just feel like we couldn't leave the season without talking about it, as it's kind of a big issue with libraries. But I'm going to start off light and just talk about our favorite journals and magazines, things like that.
For library world, I love Library Journal. Gives us access to and gives us clues into what's going to be published and all the insight about all the great books, media that's coming out. So that's a favorite in the library world.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a resource I use a lot. Have you seen their new website?
No.
Yeah, they completely redid their website. Which the only thing that's a bummer about it is a lot of the time you have to be a member to read the articles, yeah. And I was at home one day and I just couldn't read it.
But we're members.
Yeah, but I was at home.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites is probably Texas Monthly. I just think they did this spread on small towns in Texas, mm-hmm. And I just love seeing all the pictures from around Texas, since I'm kind of in my corner of it, and it's so big. And I love Glamour and Shape and all those.
Yeah, I love Martha Stewart Living and Bon Appetit, Travel, all those that they just have beautiful pictures, and it makes me want to do everything in there.
I love Bon Appetit. One of my favorite magazines to this day, or just an issue, is the one they did on the perfect sandwich. And they did the A to Z of sandwiches, because I love sandwiches, so I still go back and read that one sometimes, which is easy to do on RB Digital. I put a plug in.
What's funny about Bon Appetit is how it's changed and developed over the years, because they used to also, I think that's the same publisher as Gourmet Magazine, and then of course Gourmet went out of business, mm-hmm. But it's just interesting to see how the magazines have changed as the internet came, and it's all about pictures, versus if you look at a magazine from the 90s, especially a Gourmet or even a Bon Appetit, lots of words. Photography is really, really important in modern media.
Do you read it more as a magazine, or do you read articles from the internet?
I read it like a magazine, but here's what's funny about magazines is I, for some reason, start from the back. I like to start from the back and flip through. It's a weird little habit, but most magazines also have this continuing article, or a what would you call it? Just a regular article that's mm-hmm. on the back page. It's just a little snippet.
Yeah.
Bon Appetit does it, and they usually have a celebrity, and they ask them 5 questions, and they respond to that. So it's just kind of a go-to fun way to start your magazine.
I always look at the table of contents, and then I read what I want to read first, and then I go back and flip through the whole thing.
I do that if I'm reading a digital magazine, because it's not as fun to flip. Oh, yeah. So I'm just what do I want to know about this magazine, and then you can jump that way.
I love digital magazines, except when I'm on a plane. For some reason, I just love to annoy everyone around me and flip.
Does it annoy you?
I don't know. It makes more noise, and I just will flip through every page of 5 magazines. But okay, so on to a little bit more serious topic. There's so much information and media content that's put out. It's kind of overwhelming for most people. And I wanted to know what you thought about the library's role in navigating this new media environment.
Well, I think it's our job to provide materials and resources that have a good reputation, reliable credentials as far as published things, We need to provide access to databases. If a patron came in and they needed to do some research, I would steer them to our electronic databases versus a Google search. The fact that we provide that type of thing, that's something you can feel good about in the library world.
Yeah. I say when people come in and they're looking for books on research, I'm always like, you probably want to go to a database. That's going to have the best information for you. And it can pull up a lot at once, where a book, they just can't keep up with the internet. You have to use a database for research now. And I was kind of agree with you. I think it's our job to give access to new and existing information and content, and to keep up with the way people are accessing that content. And it's weird. There is so much to consume, and I think it's great that the library can take on that payment for other people so that everyone can read it. Because I alone cannot afford a subscription to every single magazine, every database. It's just impossible. So I think that's our role in the media. One thing that people always talk about is fake news and how it's just this buzzword and everyone's focused on it right now. Do you think it's the public librarian's job to combat the issue of fake news?
Well, first of all, I think fake news, I would say it's probably always been around. So it is a buzzword right now.
Yeah.
It's not our job to police. A librarian's job is to promote thought, provide access to information, and again, if we're steering somebody towards research, we want them, or news, we're going to steer them towards a reputable source. And that's where our job stops though. Each person is responsible for intelligent thought, and I just don't believe it's our job to police.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why we were even given the role, as I feel like a lot of librarians kind of got scared, and that we had to find our way in this new world, and like, oh, well, we'll be the ones that combat this fake news issue. And I just don't think that's our job. And we can show people how to access information and search for it, but I don't know why we're being tasked to deal with this fake news, because we value privacy and freedom and don't really have the right to tell people what they should and shouldn't read. We can just provide them with a lot of good resources, and they can choose for themselves and think for themselves. We don't need to think for them.
Exactly. It's all about the access to the information. That's what a library is about.
Yeah. So how do you think the library should move forward in how we provide news and media, especially in the digital age?
Well, I think we need to provide it in all the different formats and then find out what works for our community.
Yeah, we should always keep up with new methods of accessing media. I think at the end of the day, public libraries should do what's best for their community and their patrons. And if that means print media, it means print media. If it means a mixture, if it means all digital, in some communities, that's all they want. So
yeah, exactly. And it's our job to try things out and expose our community to the different formats, and be willing to show them how to use it, give them access to it, see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll provide what does work.
Yeah, and like with all the new ways you can access, I mean, now even people aren't even going to news websites, they're just getting it on social media. It's just crazy how many ways you can access all these different articles and journals. But I think it's great to challenge communities to find better ways to access that. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, then you can always change things. Libraries don't have to always be the same. They can change. So I want to talk about some good media resources that people can find at our library. I guess I'll start off with TechShare, because TechShare, oh my gosh, it has so many informations. You can find books on TechShare. You can find like law help. There's science, literature, like just focused databases, and I think that's just great.
There's genealogy.
Yeah.
There's even tech courses, hobbies. One time I looked up a crochet pattern and printed it off from a book. It was just fun. I was like, just to explore the databases, because there's everything. I steer kids to the databases for sure when they're coming in for research. Like we talked about earlier, we can't keep up with the latest information like the databases can, as far as in print material versus that.
Yeah, it's just so much easier to publish something online. Also, now we have the great courses, and I wanted to just discuss that a bit because it's brand new to our library, and I think a lot of people will really love it. They have law classes, they have cooking classes, classes on just traveling and places around the world. But one of my favorite under math, there's like it's not a gambling class, but it's like it uses like poker techniques and like gambling techniques to make your brain like better with just statistics and math, and it's fun.
Well, the great courses have been around for a while, and I think they have a great reputation and a good following. So now that we have the library collection available online, everybody I've told about is excited about it. There's something for everybody on there, even hobbies, language, and it's just fun way to learn.
Yeah, there's
Really excited about that.
great video quality. You have a teacher. It's just like free learning online. Access it through your library. Another thing I wanted to talk about, do you consider TV part of media?
I'm not a fan of TV, so
That's okay.
I have strong opinions about it. But yeah, I think it is. Provides access to media.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's news. It's where a lot of people get news. What's your opinion?
Well, I was trying to think if TV shows and like movies counted as media, because when I was looking at media, kind of, because it's a word we
What's
use,
the definition of it then?
yeah, it's bringing broadcasting information to people, essentially.
Broadcasting, that's news, which is, the news channels that run 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I was just
I'm
wondering,
thinking.
because like we provide TV and we provide movies, both streaming and the physical copy, but I was wondering, do you consider that media? I don't know. Let us know.
Yeah,
Comment on the comment box on the podcast page on the website, because I don't know this one. So I want to wrap it up with giving a little plug to our newsletter, where you can find all the media that's going on with the Marble Falls Public Library. And if you want to sign up, you can go to our website, but we have this new way to sign up. If you want to text to sign up for our newsletter, you can text MFPL to 22828. And there you can plug your email address in and sign up for our newsletter.
So one thing that we have coming up this fall that I'm very, very excited about is our espresso hour. And what we mean by that is something that we're going to offer some local and national newspapers and in our community room with coffee. So we're going to invite you guys to come out and enjoy that time of community.
So be on the lookout for that. That's all I got.
All right.
All right, tune in next week. We're doing Harry Potter. It's the finale, and we're all really excited about that.